Well, this little lecture will be about discernment and various frameworks, or metaphysical versus psychiatric frameworks. Now, I will not discredit any of these categories. However, I would like to pursue a certain, let's say, comparative idea. What happens when you reduce everything to naive realism or naive materialism? So, this is the metaphysical grid. I divided that into possible siddhi or powers like projection, astral projection, seeing the spirits, the dead, the gods, and other siddhis. And genius or the high intellect, high intelligence capacity to process, let's say, synchronicities in an ingenious fashion, and psychosis, typical psychosis. So this is divided into further delusion and realization. So at the cross section of the siddhi or the extrasensory and additional forces or abilities, we have delusion. And through the metaphysical framework, it is mixed, so you can tap into higher abilities, have extrasensory perception skills, magnetoreceptivity, electroreceptivity, and so on. But you are still attached and ego bound. Now, when you are realized, you recognize those CDs as empty dharmas, just like Nagarjuna did, and you use them selflessly or you utilize them. Now, when it comes to genius in delusion, it may be mixed, so you have brilliant insights, but they are bound to certain specific tunnel realities that may be half correct, half wrong, or mixed. So, in realization, the genius, the intellect is surrendered to the notions of the ultimate grounded superposition, let's say. Now, in psychosis, strict psychosis, or any form of altered perception that is fractured, so in delusion, the mind is fractured and firmly bound to terrifying false realities, like, let's say, cargo cults, for instance, or people that are misplacing their beliefs, and even if they have some CDs, they are interpreting it in the manner that is contrary to certain, let's say, realized ideas. And in realization, this is the ego structure that is completely revealing the truth, that is the false beliefs or contra delusions, becoming a realization. Now, in the psychiatric grid, most of those phenomena are treated as delusions. So spiritual powers, metaphysical abilities, classified as grandiose beliefs or magical thinking outside cultural norms, even if they're realized. Even a calm, unattached claim of spiritual power or prowess is clinically viewed as ungrounded. Further, genius in delusion, eccentricity, or creative obsession that crosses into fixed, unprovable belief systems. Now, belief systems that are within consensual reality as defined by psychiatrists or the social norms. So again, realization in genius, this is mixed in psychiatry, so recognized as highly functional brilliance that somehow aligns perfectly with actual reality. So we need to play our masks, we need to adapt, and we need to talk the commoners talk in order not to be psychiatrized. So further, the psychosis aspect in delusion, classic textbook definition of clinical psychosis, word salad and all that, that may have potential of developing into genius or CD, but it is usually pacified and rewired into typical psychiatric psychosis. And delusion, a spiritual breakthrough that looks like psychosis, is still diagnosed as a psychiatric episode. Now, not only metaphysical experiences and abilities come into play, but also dark ops technologies, various computational radionics, the tech that is available and doesn't tell you that your brain is the limit and that we are both broadcasters and receivers through the electromagnetic waves in various circumstances. So there's the metaphysical aspect, the total spectrum management aspect, and the psychiatric aspect. Now, the psychiatric aspect reduces the metaphysical and total spectrum command into psychiatry. No matter what you say, it rewires back into psychiatry. It's a perfect invention, fifth tool of power, to pacify all people who are dealing with the metaphysical in a correct sense and they're not under the governmental jurisdiction. For example, free roaming magicians, unauthorized pirates, and the total spectrum command, or the dark ops and governmental agenda, and works throughout the electromagnetic spectrum on Earth through the tech grid, 8 sphere, cybernetics, and so on, so on. Rewind back into psychiatry. So I hope that explained all. Thank you.